This video is satire, that means it's funny, so shut the fuck up and don't take it seriously. So anyway, there's this movie that everybody talks about and likes for some reason. It's called Jurassic Park, one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, and it all comes down to the director, Steven Spielberg, or as I like to call him, Steven Sploogberg, because unlike other directors who pull stuff out of their asses, he pulls it out of his dick. This guy is one of Hollywood's biggest hacks, who somehow managed to convince the entire world that a movie about a killer shark that barely had any sharks was good. Hey, listen buddy, if I was promised a movie about sharks, I expect sharks in the goddamn movie, not a bunch of assholes in a boat talking about their white privilege and call it a masterpiece. Fuck you and your stupid hats. But since this is not about his stupid guys on a boat guest starring killer sharks movie, I'm going to talk about his other shit show. We open the movie in an island that doesn't exist because no real country is willing to stain their dignity by associating with it, where we see one of the characters dressing like a safari man, who I'm going to call Safari Man for the rest of the movie because Safari Man in shorts is a mouthful. He and a bunch of armed hard hats are getting this box that took me a long time to realize is a cage with something inside. Although my first question should be, why are they doing this in the middle of the night instead of during regular working hours? To build up whatever suspense they have? Safari Man then calls Gatekeeper to open a gate with his hands. I don't know why not press a button, and things goes wrong when the thing inside the cage charges like a rocket and catches Gatekeeper, who happens to be black. So we're doing this tight cliche already? Daring, aren't we? The thing inside the cage then starts to do something to Gatekeeper, although to me it looks like he's doing the nasty to him before Safari Man yells to shoot her. I guess her is the thing violating Gatekeeper before he got sucked in the black hole. So let me guess, was this a commentary on gatekeeping culture? Because that was so subtle. We cut then to a mine in another part of the world where we see another character, Lawyer Man, who for some reason is standing on a box pulled by another guy across the lake. Guys, you ever heard of a thing called bridge? Probably would have been more convenient than whatever you're doing here. Lawyer Man is having a conversation with this random guy about things that really doesn't matter. You might want to skip it. Or better yet, stop the movie and do something more productive in your life. They go inside and they see this rock with a bug encased inside. It's supposed to be special for whatever reason. Now we're in the desert with guys digging up bones because they don't have anything better to do with their lives. We meet Discount Harrison Ford, that guy from that submarine movie with Sean Connery. Remember him? No? Okay then. He's here because the real Harrison Ford took a look at the script and laughed his ass out before throwing it at Sploogberg's face and flipping him off because he knew how stupid this movie is. And he was in the Star Wars Holiday Special. He knows what stupid is. His girlfriend, I guess, is played by this actress nobody heard of, so I'm calling her Lady. And they love to talk bones to each other, like the one they just found and say it could fly or something. Suddenly this kid uses the T-word in front of them without having the T-word privilege, and Discount Harrison Ford decides to traumatize him with a hooked claw, pointing at random parts of the kid's body. And somehow it makes a point. But what I like the most is this kid's reaction to all of this. Like he just realized he's in a dumb movie made by a dumber person and needs to get the fuck out of it and hires witness protection. Discount Harrison Ford and Lady have a talk about babies, which is odd considering they like bones over real people, until a helicopter comes out of nowhere ruining their little field trip. They then meet Discount Sean Connery, because the real Sean Connery was busy doing a much important thing, voicing a dragon, or at least by the official reason. The real reason he didn't want to be with Discount Harrison Ford in another movie for the rest of his entire career. Discount Harrison Ford sees Old Man, and yes, I'm going to call him Old Man because he does not deserve to be associated with Sean Connery. Now Old Man, who somehow teleported from the helicopter to the trailer, how exactly did he do it? We see the chopper just landing, so how did he get out of it and rush to the trailer without anybody else noticing him? Great editing right there, folks. And we're still in the first act. Old Man is here to offer Discount Harrison Ford and Lady to come evaluate the part he's making. Apparently, he wants outside opinion to check his secret project, and he thinks they're the best at their field. Discount Harrison Ford declines because they're short on money or something. Well, that's what you get for going to college, you asshole. Next time, pick a more believable career instead of digging for rocks. Like doing a YouTube channel where you trash movies and call directors idiots. Like what I'm doing right now. It pays the bills, okay? Old Man, of course, offers to pay them for this little vacation because he is white and rich and never pays his taxes. We go to yet another location, now with Hatman, who is meeting Fatman here. I think they're meant to be the villains here. Hatman gives Fatman some money, telling him it's for something he needs to get him, and then he brings up, I shit you not, a Barbasol shaving cream can. Now this is an odd product placement. Product placement in movies is usually food, drinks, electronics, cars, restaurants. But shaving cream? That's a new level of desperate, and I can't tell which is the desperate one, the movie or Barbasol. The answer is both. Fatman puts some of this foam on this pie, and already the restaurant's owner is the most sympathetic guy in the entire movie, because someone will eat that pie and will sue the owner, and his restaurant will close down following the lawsuit. I guess Fatman is the real villain here. We jump forward in time and see most of the characters we met so far in a helicopter heading to the island, and... oh fuck no. Jeff fucking Goldblum. A guy who I cannot stand. The way he speaks makes Sylvester Stallone sounds like a Shakespearean author. It's obvious he was brought in to attract young women, ignoring the fact women don't watch these kind of dumb movies, making him a pointless chickbait. But in case you're a woman who happen to like this kind of trash, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but he's into monkeys. He totally fucks monkeys. Henceforward, he shall be known as Monkey Fucker. Looking at the rest of the characters, you might find the color choice of their wardrobe a little silly. It's like they expected the audience to not care enough about remembering their names, so they assigned each of them a color to make them easier to recognize. So I guess I'll be doing the same and say Discount Harrison Ford is now going to be Blue Man, and Lady is going to be Pink Lady. They arrive to the island and the chopper starts shaking, giving me false hope in seeing them crash and burn, thus saving me from the upcoming torture. Alas, I'm not the one who made this movie. If I was, I wouldn't have made it in the first place. Blue Man's seatbelt for some reason comes with 2 female parts, which I guess is a hidden metaphor for something, or it's just simply someone in the factory fucked up and we're all making baseless assumptions out of nothing. They land and drive to an obviously open field where we first see a dinosaur. A fucking dinosaur. And a giant one for that matter. While everybody is distracted by the dated looking special effects, my question here is, how the fuck did everybody fail to notice a thing the size of a hilltop in an open like this? This is an open field where everything is out in the clear. How did they miss something this massive that wasn't trying to hide from there in the first place? Does this thing have the same teleportation power Old Man had earlier in the movie? This is an example of trying to hide logic flaws with the spectacle effects. You have a plot hole the size of a barnyard, but as long as the spectacle piece you're showing can distract them enough, they ignore it and never question that. Also, it's pretty obvious they use the blue screen here. This effect and the entire moment are dumb. Old Man then proudly presents this place as Jurassic Park, which brings another huge flaw that no one talks about because they're still distracted by the car keys they're jingling in front of you. He calls this place Jurassic Park. It's a zoo. It's not a park, it's a zoo. A park is this place with trees and flowers and slides and monkey bars. A zoo is the place where you put animals in cages and people laugh at the poor animals' expense. This place should be called Jurassic Zoo. How the fuck do you not know the difference? Is English not your first fucking language? Did you give the script to a non-English writer who lives in a place where a park and zoo use the same word in his language? Oscar-winning director, everyone. Can't bother to use a fucking dictionary. The characters then move to a building and then they give an explanation how they made dinosaurs. And prepare yourself for this. This is the explanation they give. Apparently, they brought dinosaurs back to life using the miracle of cloning. Cloning. And I'm like, cloning? Are you serious? This is the bullshit you're trying to pull on us? Cloning? Now, some of you might be saying, hey, use some suspension of disbelief, it's fiction. Well, first of all, fuck you. Second, that's not how suspension of disbelief works. Suspension of disbelief is used when things we know are impossible in real life, like aliens or alternate dimensions or psychic powers. It is not used with real science because it is real and we all know its limits. Cloning is based on real science, and I use this term loosely with it, so if it's used in a movie, it should be used the way it is in real life. And by real life knowledge, we know cloning is not a reality. And if anyone wants to argue it's real, then let me ask you this. If cloning is real, if cloning is a regular thing in life, then why aren't we seeing real life application for it, huh? If cloning is that simple, then why are we still having endangered animals instead of simply cloning them to increase their numbers, huh? If cloning is real, then why haven't we brought back extinct species from 1 year ago, huh? If cloning is real, then why haven't we cloned the dead the moment they died, huh? The answer is simple. Cloning is not real. It's a fake propaganda. And if it wasn't fake, then it's impossible. This movie insults its audience intelligence. Fuck this movie. Oh, it's also telling us the dinosaurs are cloned using frogs. So they're not making dinosaurs? They're making frogs? Okay, then I'll start calling them frogs then. The characters have had enough of those bullshit and decided to walk out of it as well. Instead of going to the exit though, they go to one of the labs where we meet Asian science men. But not before we see our repeat of the big frog scene from earlier. Remember when I said about using spectacle to distract the others from fatal flaws? Well, the movie is doing it again by trying to distract us with a baby hatching from an egg, while trying to convince us this robot hatching thing is still in place. That's not even a background mistake, it's right on your face. How stupid do you think we are for not noticing that? I don't think even a blind guy could miss that. But hey, this gooey finger puppet is moving, so I guess it's supposed to be cute or something. Monkey Fucker tries to sound smart, and I put the emphasis on try because he's Monkey Fucker. Asian science man tells him their frogs are female, but Monkey Fucker says no, they won't stay female for too long. I guess that's foreshadowing something obvious coming later. Blue Man asks Asian science guy what this is he's holding, and he responds it's the thing he was digging his bones earlier in the movie. Then Blue Man teleports to the place we saw in the first scene of the movie? Is everyone in this movie capable of teleporting? How did he know of this place? This is his first time visiting, and how did he beat everyone else to it? I know the fuck wrote this garbage. We see a cow lifted, and you'll notice Old Man acting like he's trying to hide something. It's useless effort anyway, since no one is paying attention to him, and they're all watching whatever they're doing to the cow. It lands in the middle of the trees, and we see rustle in the bushes and random screeches. I guess whatever effect they were planning for this scene was not ready in time, so they had to bullshit around to make something cool for our nimbly minds. We meet Safari Man again, who claims to be an expert on the frog that killed Gatekeeper, making me wonder why he wasn't fired for letting one of the things he's expert on kill one of the personnel, but I'll assume Old Man plays favorites with them. The scene following this is one of the worst scenes I've ever seen in my life. You get two groups talking loudly at the same time, and you can't get what each of them are saying. It's a complete mess, and I'd say it's done on purpose to try to keep our mentally challenged script from reaching the audience's ears. Hey Sploogberg, if you find your own work stupid sounding, maybe you shouldn't keep it in the first place. Fuck this movie. Anyway, the cow is now gone, and they go to have their lunch. Lower Man discusses the pricing points they should put, which goes for $1,000 a person. Old Man thinks it's funny because he is rich and can't relate to lower classes who can't afford to go to this place. And you know what? This whole idea is a disaster anyway. Why would old rich white people be interested in coming to a zoo? They're interested in two things: golf and game hunting. Either make a frog-themed golf course, or a hunting ground and you'll guarantee profit. Monkey Fucker is disgusted, but for the wrong reasons. He still thinks the zoo is going to crash and burn because the frogs they made are not natural. Hey, you know what else is unnatural? Monkey fucking. You are not a natural human being. He then dares to call what Old Man is doing rape of the natural world. Well, that's where it's coming from you. But then they move out without even touching their food, so that's a waste. And then we... Children. Well, the movie is officially ruined. Everything serious about this pile of shit has gone off the window the moment children are introduced. If this was a PG-13 movie, it is now a kids film. No one goes to movies to watch children. Children are terrible actors and take precious time from the adult actors who went to real acting schools. At least the ones with dignity do not work with children. And since children are not allowed to die or get hurt, all possible suspense is gone because you know nothing will hurt them, so why bother investing in them? Burn in hell, Sploogberg. Burn in hell. They bring in new cars that they say they're electrical, and I don't even know this movie. How are these powered by electricity? What science are the writers referred to in this mess? Old Man says this rail on the road is what gives electricity to the cars. But how? How do they get the power to run? Wi-Fi? Even a 5-year-old knows how Wi-Fi works, and that's certainly not Wi-Fi. Magnetism? In that case, how come the inner mechanisms are not affected by them? Oh, I'm sorry, was I supposed to turn my brain off and enjoy the film? Well, fuck you. If the director wants me to treat his work like it's made by intelligent people, I should treat it like it was made by dumb people. Anyway, the kids, Blue Boy and Pink Girl, they are Old Man's grandchildren, and he brought them here because he wants to see if they can impress rich kids who aren't busy looking at their Game Boys to notice everything around them. Blue Boy just happens to be a fan of Blue Man, even went ahead to dress like him. Seems oddly specific, though he forgot the hat, so that's 0 out of 10. Blue Man is of course not impressed with him, so he does the smart thing and ditches him in the car he's not riding in. Old Man does the smart thing and leaves the guests on their own, not even bothering with a PR guy or a tour guide to join them in case they need something from him, leaving all their future complaints in their pockets like a smart businessman. Inside the control room, they note that a storm is literally coming to the island. Wow, so they just now remembered that a freaking storm is coming, yet they choose to do nothing and keep the show going instead of, I don't know, postpone the whole tour for another time? But I'm not a businessman, so I don't know this is how business works. Now the tour starts. Monkeyfucker wonders if they got King Kong, so that proves he wants a Kong-sized nasty. And this is the most realistic part in the entire movie. Going to a zoo, only to see nothing. You waste your time looking at an enclosure, only to realize you've been staring at an empty space. Could you imagine being this poor chap who'd been saving his money for years just to get to this place, and walk out not seeing a single animal? If I was him, I'd sue Old Man up his ass. Except I wouldn't be able to afford the lawyers since I spent all my money on this trip, leaving me with nothing. Fuck this movie. We meet Fat Man again. Yeah, I bet you forgot he was a character in this pile of garbage. All he does is talk on how good he is at his job and he should be paid more. Okay, I guess he got a point there. But Old Man thinks otherwise, despite repeating throughout the thing about not sparing any expenses, yet not paying his staff better. Whatever. Back at the tour, and get used to me saying that, seeing how we keep jumping between characters, there's still nothing. Just plants. Then, Pink Lady says one of the most baffling things ever uttered by a human being. Dinosaurs eat men, woman inherit the earth. Well, are we pandering to the SJW crowd now? Like seriously, Plutchard, what were you trying to achieve with that nonsense? A pat to the back? Filling some sort of minority checklist? Oh, look at me, I support women. But are you doing this because you wanted to? Or because your fuckload of a not a shark movie was too masculine for your audience, so you added a girl power line to please them? Well, guess what? There's no soy milk in hell. And now, a goat. I have no joke for this. Even the characters are getting bored. I know the feeling. Pink Lady and Monkeyfucker are discussing some random nonsense because that's how desperate we are. But here's a turn of event. Blue Man just had enough of all this and ditches the tour. Ignoring how questionable the safety measurements here in allowing the visitors to open the doors of a moving car and allows them to touch the highly dangerous electric fences and even going through an enclosure like idiots. But he's doing the smart thing and trying to get the hell out of here. They all walk in this random spot and they find an inflated frog balloon. Yay, something that looks like a cheap museum piece. What was the budget again? But wow, it says a lot when a balloon is the most impressive thing they ever saw. Even though they just saw that giant blue screen effect earlier, so I don't know why they're acting like this is the first thing they ever saw since they have arrived to this godforsaken place. Plutchberg, as the director of this mess, allow me to ask one simple question. You ever check the script you've been working on? You don't have editors to point out the plot holes in your story? Nah, I'm joking, he never bothered to do anything. Otherwise, this would have been the greatest movie ever made, unironically. Anyway, Pink Lady digs up this log of shit and seems like there are troubles regarding the plants here. Oh, I think I failed to mention she works on plants. But it's not my fault if the movie conveniently forgets that detail as well. Back to the safe space, somebody actually made a smart decision to stop the tour and resume another time. Man, if only they did that from the start. But again, I'm not a rich white man, so I don't understand how they make their decisions. We return to the useless ones, with Monkeyfucker standing in the best imagery that describes the entire movie. A giant pile of shit. And I know you're tired of me pointing out the logic flaws already, but I want to know how exactly did that horny frog shit out a pile that's larger than him? Even an all-you-can-eat at Taco Bell wouldn't produce this much shit out of you, though challenge accepted. Pink Lady is not wasting time as she is digging her own pile that represents her career, so enjoy that while you can, Missy. Fat Man activates something in his computer, and we hear thunder in the next shot. I don't get it. Was that supposed to be a joke? Like, haha, Fat Man activated the thunder that started Lawyer Man? Even at simple jokes, this movie fails hard. Assuming there was a joke here. Everybody leaves this place except for Pink Lady, which I don't understand. What exactly is she expecting to do? Fix this inflatable piece of rubber? She's not a vet, and this place already got their vets who worked on their frogs better than her. So what is she going to... Oh, wait, I got it. Feminine propaganda, of course. She will instantly fix this frog where everybody else has failed because she's a woman, and that makes her better than that mustachio alpha male here. Fuck this movie up its ass. Still pointless anyway, since we don't get any result out of this. Fatman is then talking with a pre-recorded video, a reminder of the shitty effects that can't even hide that this is a pre-recorded video, and asks the rest in the safe space if they want something from the vending machines before he mumbles about phones and powers before he starts the timer and leaves. But instead of doing fat people things, he goes to another room and opens some sort of freezers and puts whatever these things are supposed to be in this barbasol can and leaves. Now, I'm not a rocket expert, but I guess these things he took were important. Like, highly important. So where are the security? Even at minimal crew, you still need some security personnel. Or are you going to tell me old man is not rich enough to afford some? He's rich to afford all this junk, but not a single security guard? Guess the thought of theft or betrayal didn't come to his rich man brain. We go back to the Voyage of the Damned, where we see Blue Man ask Monkeyfucker if he got kids. He says he gets married occasionally, and always looks for new exes. So wow, Monkeyfucker is even a worse person than I thought. How is this guy likable and super popular? He can't speak for shit, he marries and disposes of women like it's a game, and have I mentioned the monkey fucking already? Fuck this guy and hope he catches AIDS when he fucks his next monkey. Luckily, Blue Man is simping his pink lady and tells Monkeyfucker to never touch her with a 10-foot pole. But suddenly the car stops because the power is out. Convenience, convenience. Back at Control, they finally notice something was wrong since all systems are going down. All the while, Fatman is making an escape in gas-powered Jeep. Almost feels like the electric-powered cars were a dumb idea. IT Man tries to fix the damage, but Fatman decides to rub it on their faces one last time by being an injured troll. Clearly the greatest achievement of humanity. The tour is now back to that stupid goat, bored as hell, as I am, but they were awakened by something that shakes the ground. The goat disappears until a piece of it falls on one of the cars, and we see the big frog living here. Lawyer Man hates frogs bigger than him, and he runs the fuck out of here. The giant frog breaks out of its enclosure, and in case you haven't noticed, we get yet another case of using spectacle to distract us from crucial errors. First, we see his hand touching the cables. This frog got tiny hands. How did it reach above his head? Does this frog have Mr. Fantastic powers? Second, we can see the frog's head on street level, meaning there's a steep drop down there. But when we see the goat, it was on street level. So where did this drop come from? Third, since we just saw the frog rising from the bottom, how did it suddenly reach street level? Did it jump all the way up there? Well, this is a frog, so I suppose it did frog stuff. Or maybe it just teleported up there. We saw enough teleportations already. And fifth, we see the frog moving away from this place, and then it's back again. Just how? But wow, how can you screw up your continuity this bad in the same scene? It's almost like Bluesberg never went to film school. Also, some people are praising the effects here, saying how real it is. But is it though? Look, if you need darkness to obscure your effects, then it wasn't good in the first place. If it's as good as you think it is, then show it under the bright light instead of hiding in the dark, you cowards. So no, this effect sucks balls. Blue Man then tells Monkeyfucker to stay still because the frog's vision is based on movement. How the hell do you know that? Is it because you dug a bunch of frogs? This is your first time seeing this thing, so how could you know what it does and doesn't? Adding to the fact, this is a modified frog, so it's already different from the real creature it's based on. It's almost your field is nothing but made up bullshit. You deserve to go broke, pal. Pink Girl, being the stupid girl that she is, shines a light on the frog, but all it does was attracting it to her and Blue Boy. What was her plan here exactly? Whatever it was, the giant frog is now attacking the car. Normally it would be an intense moment, but since these are children, all the tension is out the window since by law we know nothing will happen to them. You might as well skip the scene entirely. Blue Man caught the stupid bug himself and tried to do something even he doesn't know. Monkeyfucker wants a piece of this riot, and the frog chose to chase him, and here I am waiting to see him get eaten. But instead, the frog chose to eat Lawyer Man. Now, I hear people calling this the funniest moment in the entire movie, but why? What's the joke here? Is it because he died on a toilet? Why is this funny? Because he's a lawyer and haha evil lawyer joke? But what exactly did he do? He was just doing his job, and he probably had friends and family back home, so why are we supposed to laugh here? You people are sick, you know that? Not as sick as the people who made this garbage, but still sick nonetheless. Blue Man then tries to rescue the children who don't need rescuing, but he only got Pink Girl out before the frog comes back. And in another slap to the face of logic, the frog just stares at them and does nothing to them. You see why having children is bad idea in any film? They have ridiculous character shields and takes away all the reasons for us to worry about them, even if it breaks common sense. So the frog ignores the two and drops the car off the cliff with Blue Boy still inside. So I guess the frog did jump from way down there. Back to the control room, it seems like Fat Man was just too good at his job, as they can't undo what he did to the system. Perhaps Fat Man was in the right and Old Man really did not pay him enough for his talents. Pink Lady is here. I guess her business with the horny frog was not important for us to know its outcome, but she goes with Safari Man to look for the leftovers of tonight's frog show. Speaking of Fat Man, he is driving, still, thinking he went the wrong way. Maybe he didn't plan this good enough, and he crashes and gets stuck. He slips, and there was a cartoon slipping sound effect. Well, glad they finally accepted they were making a cartoon all along. As he is doing his business, suddenly a new frog shows up. Looks like he got a double mohawk, so I'm going to call it double mohawk. It acts friendly enough to Fat Man, but then he opens an umbrella in his neck? What? Are frogs known to have umbrellas in their necks? Oh great, Sploogberg was on his drugs when he wrote this, wasn't he? And to add more insult to this, it literally spits on Fat Man's face. Which is fitting because this movie loves to spit at the audience intelligence. Fat Man trips and loses his can, but the teleporting frog attacks once again, and Fat Man dies inside. All the while, Barbasol's shameless bardic places it getting buried where it belongs. Under a pile of shit. That was completely pointless. Back to Blue Man and Pink Girl, now trying to save Blue Boy, who is still alive despite free-falling in a car wreck, just to show how pointless to worry about them. Now Pink Girl is still panicking over Lawyer Man's death, which is weird if you ask me. Feeling bad about him is fine, but she's acting like he was her father or something when she barely knows him. Blue Man climbs the tree and gets Blue Boy out of the car, but Sploogberg thought the scene needed some action, so he makes the car wreck chase the characters. I repeat, the car wreck chases the characters. The two idiots could just step aside and let that fall and save them the trouble, but instead they stay in its path. Keep piling the illogical decisions. And to add salt to injury, once they reach the bottom, the car still falls on them, but they were saved by the conveniently placed sunroof. Up at the main road, Safari Man and Pink Lady arrive to the location and they find what I assume are pieces of Lawyer Man's body. But thanks to the G rating imposed by the kids' persons, we can't see them. What ruined this moment further is finding Monkeyfucker alive save for a broken leg. They find the car wreck from the previous scene, but they were too late as no one was there. But what they found instead was another pointless action scene of the giant frog from earlier giving them a chase until it gives up for some reason. Maybe it recognized Monkeyfucker on the jeep and decided this filth is not worth it. Back to Blue Man and the kids, they decided to spend the night on a tree, and they spot more of the long-necked frogs we saw early in the movie. Blue Man, for some reason, calls them, which does bring their attention to them. I thought the purpose of climbing the tree was to not let these frogs know where you are, so good job, you idiot. Blue Man pulls a claw from his asshole, literally, and he and the kids start trading lame jokes thinking they're funny before he decided to throw the claw away. Too bad he didn't think he could use it as a weapon for future purposes, but whatever. Back to the center where we see Old Man devouring all the ice cream without sharing any of it to the rest, typical rich white man behavior, and Pink Lady starts a conversation with him. Old Man then tells his backstory. Apparently, the reason why he made his frog zoo, the reason all this mess happened, because people thought his flea circus was fake. I am dead serious. We have a couple of dead people, thousands of dollars in property damage, doing what I assume were unethical science experiments, just to show that he did something real? I mean, seriously? That's the best you could come up with? You could have done anything. Anything! To show the world that you made something like pharmaceuticals or museums. And you chose this fed-ass pet zoo project that no one could afford to go to? And couldn't handle itself on day 0? Not even day 1? You deserve all the shit that happened to you, fucker. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. Old Man is still blaming Fat Man for all the damage happened this night instead of figuring it out by looking at the mirror and asked, maybe I should pay my best technician better. All what took to him to realize what a shitty fool he is was few words from a female character in another pathetic attempt at female empowerment. You know, I just thought this movie might be stupid. Back to the others, a giant sock puppet was about to eat them if it wasn't vegan. Blue Man and the kids play with it until it sneezes on Pig Girl in a typical naughty's gross out humor. Seriously, why do they think kids like gross stuff? It's disgusting. In a normal situation, Pink Girl would be infected with a new deadly virus that will spread to anything she comes in contact with. But this movie already got an F in science, so of course they're acting like she's totally fine. What they find instead are a clutch of hatched eggs. Frog eggs. Despite early in the movie they said it's impossible because they're all gender fluid or something. I don't know. I barely pay attention at school. You expect me to do the same thing here? Blue Man thinks the ability to change gender comes from the frog DNA they used, since some types of frogs are capable of changing their gender by just thinking about it. So this is the explanation. This is what you're going with. Every time I think this movie couldn't get stupider, it keeps doing so. So you're telling me that a whole class of scientists working with Old Man for years could not see this coming? Not one of them thought these frog genes might not be a good idea? Did Old Man hire Asian Man just because he's Asian without asking his credentials? Sploogberg, how the fuck do you still get a job? What are you smiling about, you dickwad? These things can fuck like Catholic rabbits now. This is not the time to be happy about it. Call the army and tell them to nuke this island from space before these things spread out to the entire world. You're not going to do this, are you? You're going to ignore this and pretend it never happened, right? Fuck this movie. We then move to movie! No one cares about Monkey Fucker! Stop using him like he's some sort of sex icon, because he's not! I'm gonna have nightmares this evening. Anyway, before I move on, there's something I need to address here. They got Samuel L. fucking Jackson, one of the best actors ever, and they do nothing with him. He's simply the tech guy and barely contributes anything to the plot beyond spouting technobabble. Under a smart director, not only he'd be the main character, but he'd end all of this mess in less than 10 minutes. Too bad it's Sploogberg in the director's chair here. Anyway, the gang is discussing what they should do, seeing Fat Man was indeed too good for them. An Old Man requests to shut the system down, but Samuel Jackson refuses. Old Man asks again, but this time he says please. And that was enough for Samuel Jackson to do it apparently. So he does the most advanced technical solution in the book, turning the system off and on. But this time, it doesn't work. Except it does? One of the computers shows system ready, but they say they need to go to the circuit breaker to turn it on. Which means they need to leave this place. But why? Why is a circuit breaker outside the building in another area? What's the logic behind it? Look at me, trying to put logic into this. If the circuit breaker was crucial for the systems here, why wasn't it placed in the same area here? That's like me leaving my house and walk to the next two neighborhoods if I wanted to turn the breaker on again. Who did they hire to design this place? We cut to the Lost and the Damned again, where Sploogberg adds even more frogs. This time it's ostrich frogs in a scene that adds nothing to the plot. Moving on. The others are now in a bunker, and Pink Lady is panicking because Samuel Jackson is taking too long to make things work again. It's like having a very important part of the park outside the main building was a bad idea, and sending one guy alone was a worse idea. Old Man of course doesn't think it's a big deal because he thinks setbacks are normal. Pink Lady had enough of this bullshit and insists to go look for him. Safari Man, in a surprising act of intelligence, goes with her armed and ready, but not before slipping in another forced female empowerment line. As they go out, they discover the compound we saw earlier was torn to pieces, and the frogs living in it are free and could be anywhere. Pink Lady rushes to the maintenance shed while Safari Man stays behind. Meanwhile, Blue Man and the two parasites reach a fence and he foolishly touches the cables with his bare hands. In a better movie, he'd be Kentucky Fried Man leaving the two warts alone, but this is a family picture, so of course he's not. But they hear the giant frog coming, so they rush to climb the fence. Back to Pink Lady, she is lost thanks to Old Man's directions. How fitting, since Sploogberg had no idea how to direct anything in this dumpster fire. And of course, it's up to Monkey Fucker to guide Pink Lady, not the guy who built this place. Pink Lady reaches the breaker and turns the power on while the others are still climbing. And sorry, I feel nothing when children are around because it's already been established they cannot die, so this is just padding at this point. Blue Boy gets shocked and blown away. Blue Man says he's not breathing. Back at Pink Lady, she celebrates the return of power until the frog the movie kept hyping finally appears on screen. And how convenient it waited until she gets the power on for it to attack. It's not like it could do it while she was working on it, but they wanted to add a lame jump scare because that's how pathetic this movie has become. But Pink Lady fights Samuel Jackson, or Samuel Jackson's arm. So not only Samuel Jackson was shoved aside for those clowns, but they killed him off screen. They killed the best actor off screen without letting him do anything. Fuck this movie, fuck this movie, fuck this movie, fuck this movie. Pink Lady manages to escape because she's a white woman and we can't have a scratch on her. Meanwhile, Safari Man finds another escaped frog, and in typical Safari fashion, he takes his sweet ass down to shoot it until he was ambushed by another frog, but not before delivering a zinger one-line instead of shooting the one staring at him. Why is this movie so goddamn stupid? On the other hand, Blue Boy is alive, despite getting zapped by 10,000 volts. We know it's 10,000 volts because they kept showing us that number, and logically we can assume it means instant death. But Blue Boy can't survive because he hadn't hit puberty yet, and this movie threw logic away a long time ago. They finally arrive to the visitor center, but of course nobody was there. So Blue Man does the smart thing of leaving the kids behind while he searches for the others outside. He finds Pink Lady, though she lost her pink shirt somehow. Still calling her Pink Lady because it's too late to give a damn at this point. Back to the kids, they were having the healthiest breakfast until the maintenance frog got into the building. They go hide in the kitchen, and here now where you can see the worst of kid inclusion in movies. They kept hyping these frogs as the deadliest things on earth, and they killed 3 characters so far, yet they're having trouble getting 2 stupid kids. We saw how smart these things are supposed to be and how they ambush anyone without noticing, but 2 kids are too much for them. These 2 reeks of sweat and shit, how can they not smell that? Did they conveniently catch cold and unable to smell? Oh, but it doesn't end there. Apparently, these things can be easily defeated by Looney Tunes style traps. I wish I was making this up. Pink Girl was able to fool one of the frogs by smashing to her reflection like she was a Wile E. Coyote cartoon. The other frog, on the other hand, is unable to catch a limbic kid even though they told us they were super fast. Either Safari Man overestimated these things or they were so OP they got nerfed in an update. You see what I mean how kids ruin movies when you have them? Oh wait, this movie was shit anyway. Logic did not exist in the first place. Blue Boy locks one of the freezer, and I don't know about you, but I feel like watching The Shining now. Anyone wants to join in? Anyway, they leave the kitchen while the other frog who got Looney Tuned smiles. It smiles like a cartoon villain. I didn't even know frogs could smile, but here we go. They finally reunite with Blue Man and Pink Lady, and they all head to the control room. The frog tries to get in, though I don't know why it couldn't just teleport in there. We all know teleportation powers exist in the movie, so I don't know why it suddenly pretends it doesn't exist. Pink Girl takes the main computer, claiming she knows what a computer is, which completely comes out of nowhere. Yes, keep the SJW pandering there, movie. Why would the boy be the computer expert? It had to be the girl. This came in the 90s. The most advanced system at the time was the DOS. So how the fuck she knows whatever the operating system is? Goes on the internet, LOL. By the powers of pandering, she managed to bring all the systems back online, and Blue Man calls Old Man, somehow knowing where and which number to call on. But he says the smartest things ever uttered in the entire shit factory storm. Call for a chopper and get us the fuck out of this goddamn forsaken island this instant, you candy-ass money-grubbing jerkwad! Okay, he didn't say that since it's a G-rated cartoon, but that would definitely make it all worth it. Actually, no, that's still wasted time over garbage. But the frog had other plans and crashes through the glass ceiling and Blue Man fires. All the while, Old Man is yelling, "Don't? What? He doesn't want Blue Man to kill the thing that's going to kill them? What?" By the way, this phrase looks great. I may use it as the thumbnail of this video. But it turned out Blue Man somehow missed all of his shots even when the frog was like 2 feet away from him. Anyone bets if it was a girl should totally kill it on first try? More chase scenes, this time ripping off Die Hard. The frog turns into I don't know, what do you call this? Cobra codes? Then it turns to a whack-a-mole puppet, and I'm here thinking Sploogberg ran out of film, so he's stuffing as much junk as possible in a short amount of time. Then they climb on bones, or are they stones? Oh, who cares? The frog teleported there. Oh, so now it remembered it could do that. More chaos, nobody gets hurt, and a new frog enters the fray. Man, with a situation this hopeless, I'd say they're doomed, but since they have kids, then it's obvious they'll be saved by bullshit. And the bullshit is of course a teleporting giant frog. It all came full circle. I mean, yeah, the giant thing that shook the ground in every step suddenly managed to sneak up on everybody here and unfold the characters. It teleported. Also, why is the music telling us this is a great thing? That thing ate an innocent man earlier. Are we forgetting that? This thing is a Class A murderer. We should not glorify it, you bastards. Sploogberg, go to hell, you white supremacist. Old Man and disappointingly the still living monkey fucker arrives, and Blue Man give him a straight up fuck you for ruining their weekend. And they all finally leave, and of course, Blue Man forgot to tell them to nuke the island. This movie sucks. So that was Sploogberg's Frog Zoo, and oh my god, it's one of the worst I've seen in my life. The characters are undeveloped idiots, the science makes no logical sense, plot holes up the asshole, the effects are terrible, the tone is all over the place, it can't decide if it wants to be taken seriously or be a cartoon, yet is one of the best movies ever made. This is why the movie industry is dead. People take this garbage and eat it like Sunday breakfast, while better-written movies are ignored because they don't show people punching each other. Sploogberg did nothing but hurt the industry by constantly feeding this type of garbage to the gullible childish audience. If you like his movies, you are part of the problem. Stop supporting this fool and go watch real movies for once. And studios, stop giving this hack more work. You're only going to make yourselves worse. Fuck this movie and fuck anyone who even likes it ironically. Get a life, you losers!